Right, we are indeed recording, and I'll move the camera.
Oh, God.
And this is Janet, Mrs. Janet Brown, who has got mystic connections.
Mrs. Brow, if you don't
Mrs.
mind.
Brow. And this is Irene, Duchess of Bowerswell. You can sit up properly now, Duchess, because I can swing the camera around.
Too close.
Now tell me, your mother, in fact,
face.
was a medium, is that right, Janet?
Well, yes.
Yes.
She was, yes. She didn't tell many people about it. It was very private. It was part of her makeup.
What were her beliefs then? What did she fundamentally believe could happen?
Well, she was very, very deeply Christian, of course.
Because your father
There were
was
churchgoers and there were nonconformists. And they used to have sittings in the 1920s when they were young people. They used to have sittings with another couple of people who were interested in, and that was the fashion in the 1920s.
Now,
sitting round a table and having a séance.
Now, Irene, you have your own beliefs, and you have seen things that are indescribable.
Yes.
What were they?
It's all very private. Get that.
Tell me.
Away from my face.
No, tell me.
It's all very private, and I'm not going to discuss it on a box, what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've sensed. Suffice to say, whoever's looking in, if you doubt, well, you have to be the doubting Thomas. Well, I suppose I am still the doubting Thomas a wee bit.
Well, my own view is that when you die, I don't believe really in life after death, but I think for a fleeting period of time,
I've heard this before.
there is an electrical charge there.
You are electricity.
You are electricity,
You are electricity.
and that there could be a life lasting perhaps a minute, 60 minutes, a month, a year.
Come over to me again and I'll tell you. When I was nursing way back, people used to die in hospital. We were changing the beds. We all used to get electric shocks off the beds.
Yeah, because
Really?
Pressure.
Yes.
Because we are
Noticeable.
electricity. Now,
Now tell me.
Once the body's
I'm recording it. So.
I have seen my late husband. I've seen my dog. I have heard clairvoyantly, not him, or I've heard, well, I don't know if it was a guide or, I think it would be a guide, but a spiritual guide, I've heard that. I've also, shut up, my turn. I've also sensed spirit moving through me. When I say moving through me, I mean entering my body and at night as icy cold blast, but gently and moving through, coming out the other side.
I'm glad you used the word gently because...
Well, nothing intrusive.
Nothing intrusive, and it's a benign experience, would you say?
And I've also experienced, which was rather frightening, in my late sister's house in Balhousie Street, the one that Ralph occupies now. It was a sunny day, and I had been painting a cupboard upstairs or whatever. It's a semi-detached Victorian, and get that away from the middle of my face. And you've always got to put cameras up your nose, and
just tell the story.
And what I was painting, right, so just out of the blue I thought, what's that? And I could feel, but I tried to talk to my husband afterwards and went, oh, that's what men do. I sensed or felt energy all around me, moving towards me, into my aura, stops at my back. I had a paintbrush and a paint pot and I was terrified to turn round. But, you know, it's a natural response. You turn round and there's nothing there. But I took myself there and then up to the library, got the street directories back to 1800, wrote all the names down, people who'd lived in the house and the years they spent there. Went back to the house, stood at the bottom of the stairs, said, hello, I'm back again. I'm Irene, in case you didn't know. And I called out all the names and I blessed them all.
Good.
And asked them would they now move on into the light as there was somebody waiting to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got a hold of the Monsignor, I don't know allowed to say that, but I can, Charlie Henry. And I asked him if he'd blessed 16 and he said, well, why? And I said, well, I can't really tell you why. I just bless it, you know, because my sister's gone. Ralph said, but why? And I said, but I can't really say. He says, you can't say. You're here in this house. And I'm not Catholic, by the way.
Now, let's turn to Janet for a second. Janet, have you had any out-of-body
Yes,
experiences?
Yes, you have so.
You have?
Well,
Irene's
when you were a
whispering.
child.
When you were a child, something
I was
happened.
a child. So
What was that?
When you were sick.
remind me. Oh yeah, well there were times when I had a temperature when I was a child in bed.
In which
And you
city were
always-
you in?
Well, I was in Derby when I was in bed. In the old days before they'd invented penicillin, you were really ill with tonsillitis of 3 weeks off lying back in bed. I was about 9 or 10. And I did have a couple of experiences where I'm floating on the roof looking down at myself, but I never put it down to anything spirit. I put it down to having a temperature.
Because you were little, you see. Well, I can say with my hand on my heart, I was going to say something else. My hand on my heart that, yes, I cannot prove, because you can't prove it. It's the
Can't
unknowable.
prove anything.
But I think I can say with conviction, it's like portals. It's like, if you've got the gift of the gab as well, if you've got the gift, you do see or sense or hear intermediately something that's probably for your benefit. Oh, for example, now, this was another thing I remember when I was the last person to see John McGlashan before he died, before he passed, I would say. And it was a few weeks later, and just out of the blue, "Hi, Irene."
Gosh.
I thought, it's clear as anything, just like I'm hearing you. Although I'm saying it was in my head, it's not like imagining a voice. It's a voice you're hearing. I've also had a blessing, by the way. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I don't give a damn.
Why shouldn't
They
you say
can think
that?
me cookie if they like. I've had a blessing. I would have thought it was a guide who was with me for about 6 weeks, and it was absolutely wonderful. And in fact, if I had died, it was almost at 8 o'clock at night, but strangely enough, it was like somebody putting an electric switch down before it all started. And he would just, I say he, I'm not saying it was a man, it was a male, whatever. It just sort of hum, or it was heaven. And I thought, do you know what, if I died, I don't give a damn, I would go. And I had Ralph as a bairn at the time, and a lovely husband, so but I would have just gone. But I didn't go.
Well, there you are, some ghostly tales
Well, let
from
me tell you one
Perth.
other thing from my mother's point of view. My mother used to see... We were sitting round the fire one day, and I was young again, and she suddenly said to me, "Oh, I've just seen your granddad, my dad, laughing his head off in his shirt sleeves rolled up." And about half an hour later, the phone rang and he was dead.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes. And you also had that, when Eric died, your watch stopped exactly.
Oh, his watch
the same
stopped the
time
sound. Yeah,
when
when
he
he
Wow.
died. But yeah, that was the electricity. I
So,
suppose. But my mum used to. If my mum had met you, she would have been able to describe your husband to you in very minute, intimate detail that nobody else would know,
Gosh.
because she would see him.
Well-
And there's no explanation for that
Well, I
at
would
all.
like to finish on this story. This is a story. This concerns you too, Janet, because do you remember the time I had to bother with the lights? And because Janet was always trying to look for a logical explanation to the lights. And this happened not 3 consecutive Fridays, maybe every second Friday after I come back from Edinburgh from the college. And the third Friday, got the wind up because one light would go out as I came in. I put this big light on maybe when I just came in, and one light would go out, and I'd go into the kitchen and I'd come back and it was back on. Sometimes it was like E.T. And I got on the third occasion I got the electrician up. Oh, I slept that night with the lights on because I got scared. And I got the electrician up the next day, and he said to me, well, you see now, I'll tell you about their lights. He says. They're actually screw bulbs. And what happens, logical, what happens is the vibration of the road, the traffic, brings the bulbs, loosens the bulbs. And I says, I'll accept that. How do the bulbs get back up?
Exactly.
Oh, well. I was any worry, he says, it's all right. Nothing wrong with the switches. So that was the end of that. So afterwards, I thought, looked at Raymond's picture and said, it had to be you.
Gosh.
It had to be you. And why did I not think that before? Because he trained as an electrician.
Right.
When he was 15, he was worked with Colin Graham and did his stunt with him, and he worked with Sandy McFarlane in the theatre doing the lights. And I said to him, don't do it again, because I was terrified. What I really want to say, before I finish, what I really want to see, Raymond, is I'd like to see, but not here, not in the house, because if I see you here, I'll not come back.
Yes.
So a few weeks later, I'd forgotten about it, I'd gone down to Bridgend, I was standing at the traffic lights, the pedestrian crossing. You know where Pete Rogers' seat is, beside the little gardens? You can't see the Pete Rogers' seat now because it's all shrubs.
I know where you
But
are.
at that time it was just small flowers and that, and flowers, I mean. And I turned, and I'm always gawking around anyway, and I turned and I noticed this man, not like Raymond in stature, this man was small, Raymond was quite a big, broad lad. I thought to myself, God, she was right like Raymond, that guy, enough to capture my attention. The man sat in the seat and turned to not to look at me, but in my direction. It was Raymond. Transfiguration. And I remember going and speaking with Nita Saunders, who is an international medium, about it at the time, and she said, in all the years that I've been a medium, and she was one who goes to Sweden, sat with scientists and doctors, says, I've never had that experience, so I feel very privileged, and I do.
Well, on that note, I'm going to have to leave it.
On that note, and I have to
I
leave
have to
as
say
well.
good night, first of all, to Janet Brown.
Good night.
And then
So,
to Irene Gunnion,
Good night,
Duchess
and
of
whoever's
Bowerswell.
watching, don't be frightened.